Todavía, ahí va. Adelante.
Perfecto, Ignacio, muchas gracias. Buenas tardes a todos desde Santiago de Chile.
Good morning, good afternoon from Santiago de Chile. My name is Emilio Escobar. I am the business manager of Coletanche. I want to talk about our geomembrane for impermeabilization, for waterproofing. We're going to start with the product. Our membrane is a multi-layer product. Each element has a specific purpose. It is a textile that includes fiberglass elements, providing resistance to the entire sheet. Our membrane will not deformate with cold or heat. Our membrane has excellent waterproofing resistance and also rejection of ultraviolet rays. In the upper part, it also has the capacity to reject different rays, the rays from the sun, and makes it easier to the workers to install the membrane. It also has the function of impeding the growth of any vegetation that wants to grow below the membrane. This is our XP line. We manufacture 5 different thickness. As the membrane gets thicker, it also changes the strength. Naturally, as the membrane is thicker, it becomes heavier. Then we must reduce the length of the entire roll to reduce its total weight. The superficial mass is between 2,500 grams per square meter and 5,500 grams per square meter. This is lighter and reduces the possibility of being detached because of winds. Appliance is very easy. The sheets are placed, and the space between both sheets is about 200 millimeters, 20 centimeters. As any other membrane, it can be punched out. But as with any other membrane, the hole can be repaired with the same material. Now let's see our experience in the application in traditional evaporation pools in Chile. The PVC characteristics has the need of having a multi-layer membrane. Usually, PVC doesn't have good reaction to solar rays. Therefore, the uncovered parts are covered with polyethylene sheets or with salt layers. PVC geomembrane doesn't have good resistance. Usually, an additional material is required, making thicker the layers and making more complex the process of installation. It is also usual to install a geotextile sheet. However, Coletanche, our company, doesn't have to use these kind of additional products. We have a single sheet, one layer. It means less time of construction and great resistance to punches. It has very good thermal stability. And it minimizes the preparation of the surface. It is not required to put an additional sheet of any other material between the base and the membrane.
Asimismo, la excelente resistencia que tiene a la acción del ultravioleta, el
It has
asfalto,
an excellent resistance to ultraviolet rays. And regarding installation, it is a fast procedure without special equipment. It can be done by local staff or local people from the communities. Let's see the experience.
las cuales se revistieron al parte con la membrana Coletanche SS1 de 2,2 milímetros de espesor y parte con la geomembrana ES1 de 3,5.
We have made installations in 2015.
En estas canchas de estruje de bichofita se llevó a cabo a mediados del año 2015 y la foto que ustedes ven en pantalla.
This is for a land of bichofita, which were covered with Coletanche. And this is a picture 1.5 years after it was installed. The membrane was totally exposed and had no additional repairs. We put no intermediate material. Coletanche was placed properly without using any additional material or transition sheet. It was placed directly. Welding was done by local staff, previously trained by one of our staff members. Let's talk about the investment tests in the long term for brine salt flats. This study was done because of the interest that a lithium producing company had. They were worried that this kind of membrane could cause migration of the materials to the brine for the obtention of lithium chloride. To handle these questions, we hired the company BSQC to conduct an immersion study for 1 year with the purpose of assessing the effects of we wanted to measure the effects of the brine in the membrane and also verifying if there was migration from the membrane to the brine. For this purpose, we did the corresponding measures. We had an initial baseline and we did measurements of control at 3, 6, and 12 months. Immersion began in 2019 and the samples were removed in January of this year. Let's see the results. There was an initial reduction of its thickening. Then we saw an increase of thickening explained by the creation of salt crystals. Regarding the superficial mass, the behavior was similar. We had an initial reduction because of loss of sand in the surface, and then an increase because of salt crystals. Regarding traction resistance, this is caused because of the saturation of the textile. However, after the initial reduction, the traction resistance is in fact constant. All these values have been above the minimum values stated in the technical sheet. As you can see, the baseline is in the red dotted line. Let's see at the value of break because of elongation. These values are in fact much higher than expected. We also measure traction resistance at transversal level, and the values continue above the baseline. Usually, waterproofing of a membrane is measured by the transmission of water vapor. And in the case of Coletanche, in no moment during the whole 12 months, there was no change in the value. In the case of brine, it was analyzed through two different aspects. This graph shows an important comparison. As you can see, the curves are one above the other. It means that there is no change in brine caused by the membrane. To summarize, after 12 months of testing, the Coletanche membrane keeps its waterproofing features without variation. And regarding the other mechanical properties, we see slight variations, but all of these were within that expected, but do not affect the operation. The different studies do not show any variation in the structure of the salt or the brine. There is no migration of components from the membrane to the brine. Therefore, Coletanche is a valid option for waterproofing of the different lithium mines. Thank you very much. If you have any question, you can contact us. Here is our information. Many thanks to all.
Excelente. Muchas gracias, Emilio. Y como dijo ahí, si tienen alguna consulta para ir haciendo, si queda tiempo, las vemos cuando terminemos las presentaciones.